The police are investigating a report they received of someone screaming in a house. The police find a woman stabbing someone. She is covered in blood and acting delusional. She thinks everybody is involved, so she rushes toward the cops to attack them with the bloody knife, but gets tasered. Before losing consciousness, she murmurs, "Kundalini." Hyo Jeong is a fashion model. She is posing for a photo shoot when she hears the client commenting on her dull appearance and insinuating that she looks older. He wants a model with a youthful appearance. And just like that, Hyo Jeong loses the commercial. A detective is busy preparing files when the chief calls him. He is assigned the investigation of the murder of the old couple by the girl they arrested and who later attempted to end her life. Hyo Jeong feels dejected after seeing a much younger-looking model has replaced her. That night, she takes her sleeping pill before bed, as the constant worry doesn't let her sleep. The next day, she visits an art gallery and meets a friend. The friend asks her why she's there when she had an ad shoot. Hyo Jeong lies that she didn't like the products, because of which she turned down the offer. The friend reminds her of the new generation taking over their work because they're getting old, and advises her to take any offer without negotiation. Her friend points out that she looks tired. Hyo Jeong says she can't sleep properly because of recurring nightmares. Hyo Jeong sees someone leave the gallery and stares after her. She is in one of her yoga classes. After class, she walks on a treadmill, but to her chagrin, the model who replaced her steps on the adjacent treadmill, and Hyo Jeong feels the need to prove herself to be better. She increases the speed to match the other model's speed. She's leaving when the model stops her and asks if she remembers her as they met a few days ago. Hyo Jeong pretends she doesn't. She gets surprised when the model calls out the name of her high school. Hyo Jeong recognizes Ga Young, her classmate from the same high school. They catch up over a cup of coffee. Hyo Jeong notices her bracelet. She compliments Ga Young's appearance and asks about her secret. Ga Young gives her the card of Kali Yoga Studio. She adds this is not a regular yoga studio, and the classes are tough, but once the course is over, one would have a definite change. Hyo Jeong thinks Ga Young doesn't want to disclose her secret and gets up to leave. But Ga Young reminds her that she doesn't lie, unlike someone else. She doesn't disclose the name, making Hyo Jeong leave in a hurry. Hyo Jeong feels dejected, as none of her creams seems to work anymore. She even visits the doctor, pleading with her to give her another treatment, but the doctor refuses, saying that the treatment has many side effects. Hyo Jeong is desperate, and when she can't get anything done, she walks out of the clinic and throws her bag on the road in frustration. The contents of the bag scatter, and she sees the card Ga Young gave her. Hyo Jeong decides to give it a try, since she has run out of options. She travels to the studio and, on the way, is stopped because someone lost their life in the deep waters of the sea. The driver says it is a recurring event. Some lose their life by drowning, others take their own at that particular point. Hyo Jeong notices the paramedics carrying a body with a similar bracelet to the one Ga Young was wearing. Hyo Jeong soon reaches the studio, which is nothing like a yoga studio. It looks more like a resort. Hyo Jeong waits along with 3 other guests in the sitting area. Yujin, the instructor, arrives and introduces herself. She tells them that she will lead them to the world of Kundalini from that day. The guests are given agreements that require them to follow strict rules, where no cell phones are allowed till their course is over, and they will have to eat whatever is served at the center. Ma Yeon, an MMA fighter and one of the guests, complains about the salad they are served. Hyo Jeong takes the opportunity to introduce herself. One other guest introduces herself as Jae-won. The 4th guest, Ina, an actress, joins them. Soon their session begins, and they are made to drink rose-colored tea that they have to drink after every session. Yujin talks about Kundalini, the opening of the third eye, which is beyond science. She asks them to believe in it and eliminate any doubt in order to achieve its true level. Hyo Jeong is unable to sleep at night. She hears a rattling sound before it turns into a scream. She peeks outside her room and finds a snake-like creature in the hallway, lit with many candles. Scared, she hurriedly closes the door, pops a sleeping pill, and goes to bed. The next day, when she goes to tell one of the employees, he outright rejects her contention and says she is mistaken. But oddly enough, he gulps down a whole egg as he eats his breakfast. Hyo Jeong freaks out and leaves. The police interrogate a guy with whom Bo Ra, the woman accused of, has a business relationship. He tells the police that she was very popular at a hostess bar, but when she started losing her beauty, she went into depression. So she visited someplace for yoga sessions and returned looking very different and pretty. But she started seeing ghosts and talked about snakes and chakras. So the man stopped talking to her. Yujin asks Jae-won to meet her in the training room at midnight, as she is unable to perform the asanas like the other 3. At midnight, Yujin meets Jae-won and gives her the same rose-colored tea to relax. The police are interrogating Bo Ra. She shouts and claims she saw a ghost. It kept following her, whispering in her ears, which bothered her a lot. The constant voices and sounds she heard scared her. As she says that, a pair of hands emerge from the darkness around her neck, reminding her of the dark times. She continues narrating and says she got courageous during meditation. Jae-won is more relaxed now and, in a trance-like state, performs a dance that resembles the movement of a snake. Soon a snake appears around her neck, and once she is done, The snake goes back into the darkness. The next day, Ina notices Jaewon is more confident in her poses. At breakfast, they ask her how she got better with the poses in just a day. She explains the whole ordeal from last night, but Ina can't wrap her head around it and thinks Jaewon was already good, she just pretended to be a novice. Hyo Jeong is taking a stroll when she comes across a trailer. The man living in the trailer shoos her away. Late at night, she is again woken up by the rattling sound. As she follows the sound, she sees a woman across the hall with cloudy eyes. She gets startled as an employee comes out of nowhere and asks her to go back to her room. The entity she saw is gone. Ma-yeon notices a bruise on Jaewon's shoulder while exercising. She shows her concern, but Jaewon shuts her down and behaves erratically. Before leaving, she says they have no idea what Kundalini is, baffling everybody. The police are researching Kundalini and find that it is the latent energy in the human body that can be maximized through yoga and meditation. While the snake may be symbolic, they are researching everything they got out of Bo Ra. Hyo Jeong dreams of herself sitting in a bathtub when she gets attacked by a creature with red skin and Medusa hair. She is strangled by the creature. She wakes up with a start and sees the same creature vanishing into her roof. Hyo Jeong wants to get out of the place, and she shares this with Yoo-jin. She tells her that she is seeing her deceased friend. Yoo-jin explains that it might be because her spiritual eye to reach Kundalini is opening. Nevertheless, Hyo Jeong packs her bags to leave, but when she sees herself in the mirror, she sees a much younger self and realizes that the training is working. She changes her mind and goes back to attend the day's session. But the session soon turns into a terror as Jaewon suddenly starts spewing blood from her mouth and her eyes roll back. She struggles for some time before she collapses. Ina gets suspicious of Hyo Jeong getting private treatment. They all wait in the sitting area, and Yoo-jin comes to update them on Jaewon's condition. She tells them Jaewon is suffering from dystonia in her muscle and backs it by claiming they found painkillers and other substances in her bag. The police have found some disturbing information about the place where the yoga retreat is built. Yoo-jin's demeanor when alone only adds to the suspicious activities that happen at night. She mocks Jaewon and calls her a weakling as she talks to her secretary, Choi. She adds that if Jaewon passes away, it cannot be at their institution and alludes to using the sea for their purpose. Ina wants to know how Hyo Jeong's appearance changed in a day. She goes to talk to Yoo-jin, but when Choi stops her, she slaps him angrily. Yoo-jin arrives and pretends to take Ina's side to make her feel important. She promises special treatment and calls her to the training room at midnight. Hyo Jeong finds herself in a frightening dream again, where a woman with pale gray skin and wearing a red dress dances and suddenly bends in a very unnatural way to reveal her horrifying features and cloudy eyes. Hyo Jeong cries because of these recurring nightmares that feel so real. The rattling sound distracts her. She doesn't want to hear it anymore, so she covers her ears and panics, unable to breathe. Unable to sleep again, she goes out to find the source of her terrors. When she reaches the training room, she finds Ina unconscious. Hyo Jeong brings her to her room and says she'll call for help, but Ina stops her. She remembers being ravished by Choi, who started turning into a snake before she passed out. But she doesn't disclose this to Hyo Jeong. She asks her not to talk about what she saw to anybody. Hyo Jeong finds herself in the wilderness, running and hiding from something, but the snake-like creature soon catches up, and a petrified Hyo Jeong wakes up with a jolt. Ina is scared out of her wits. Unable to handle it anymore, she confesses to Hyo Jeong that she sees a giant snake everywhere. Hyo Jeong doesn't know how to respond, because she has no idea what is real and what is not, after her nightmares have gotten worse. But that night, her nightmare came true, as a girl from her school sat on her, strangling her, and even as she woke up, the ghost of the girl kept her grip firm on Hyo Jeong's neck. Only when Hyo Jeong used the knife she kept under her pillow to attack the ghost of the girl did the ghost disappear. A long time ago, when she was in high school, Ga-young was accused of stealing a bracelet from a bully. The bully destroyed a similar-looking bracelet that Ga-young had bought with her own money. Later, she found out another girl had stolen the bracelet. Ga-young thinks that girl spread the rumor about Ga-young stealing it. What happened to that girl? Nobody knows. Jaewon comes into Ma-yeon's room. She looks ghastly and burns with a fever. Ma-yeon makes her lie down and goes to close the window. But when she turns back, Jaewon stands there with her eyes wide open and cloudy. She whimpers that she doesn't want to do this anymore, but it seems she has no control over herself as her hands move to break her neck and she drops to the ground. She has become a new entity, and her limbs crack as she lifts herself and crawls towards Ma-yeon, attacking her and throwing her out of the window. Hyo Jeong wants to put an end to whatever is scaring her. Holding a knife, she ventures down the hallway, whimpering and sobbing, getting spooked at every sound, till she turns and sees the ghost that has been haunting her. She screams and stabs it many times, but the ghost lifts itself up on the wall, scaring her even more. Hyo Jeong runs. The blood on her clothes tells us her nightmares have somehow crept into reality and are chasing her. She reaches the training room, where she sees the snake. Yoo-jin says they were waiting for her. A third eye on her forehead appears. She tells her the others have reached the Kundalini, and now it is her turn. She can achieve whatever she wants. Hyo Jeong is in a trance-like state. She eliminates Yoo-jin by stabbing her in the eye. She repeats that she knows Ga-young eliminated the girl who stole the bracelet. It is the ghost of that girl which haunts her. At that instant, the ghost appears in front of her, and Hyo Jeong runs at her like a mad woman. but the police arrive and tase her. Later, she wakes up in the hospital, her hands cuffed to the bed. She asks the detective if they captured the yoga instructor. The detective tells her they found the bodies of the instructor, Secretary Choi, who was done away with a knife found on her bed, and a female staff member, also stabbed. Hyo Jeong refuses to accept that it is all her doing. The woman she claimed to be Ga Young was later found out to be Seo Hui, the model who had replaced her in the ad commercial. The detective shows her another picture and claims that an older-looking woman is Ga Young. Hyo Jeong cannot understand what is happening. She claims that Ga Young told her about the yoga studio, but detectives claim it was Bo Ra from her high school, and she is in the same situation. There is a record of her meeting with Hyo Jeong before she was arrested for the murder of an elderly couple. Hyo Jeong's reality seems distorted. She doesn't know anymore what is real and what is not. The detective pulls out a file disclosing her illegal beauty treatment and use of sleeping pills. The experts believe that if the component she used for her beauty treatments and sleeping pills is mixed, they can lead to auditory and visual hallucinations. Because of the consistent use, her brain is all messed up, and she turned model Seo Hui into a virtual girl Ga Young. Kali Studio became famous because of people like her, who paid very high expenses to get slim and pretty. The studio gave an illegal substance mixed in the tea that not only helped them lose weight fast, but also made them hallucinate. They covered it up by calling it Kundalini. They brewed tea from monkshood flower roots to prevent such side effects. But the root is deadly, and Jae-won passed away because of the poisoning. Hyo Jeong laughs in a manic. The detective further tells her that the trainer had a husband, and Secretary Choi was her lover. The husband was arrested for running the studio with illegal means, and he confessed everything. He shows her the recording of Hyo Jeong in the act. She cries as she pleads with the detective to believe that someone was after her life. Once left alone, Hyo Jeong sees the ghost again, scaring her to the extent that when the staff comes to calm her down, she takes the scissors from the tray and she bleeds out and perishes. As for the last trainee, Ma Yeon is back at her training center in the same state as Hyo Jeong and stabs her coach. As she whispers Kundalini, her eyes glow red, making us believe that it might have actually happened, but with no survivors, no one might know what actually happened in the Kali Yoga studio.